good question. By the way, you are such a good interviewer. All of your questions are solid questions.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've done a few interviews, but your questions are just really unique.
I've had my fair share of like, is that a cell phone? And then I have to come back into my world.
And I always start my songwriting with lyrics.
Here I have over 200 people to feed almost solely, you know.
And show the graphic images of those children.
Mm-hmm.
God, yes!
That's exactly it.
Yes!
I feel like we've all had this experience.
Everyone's gonna get the picture or they're not. So everyone was really, really nice.
And I wanted to do something a bit more direct. And the first attempt at that was a game.
Susanna, do you want to do a documentary? And she's like, yes. I'm like, great, here you go.
Wow.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Tuesday, the 25th of April, 2023. And I'd like to thank Lainey Gray for joining me. That was a little over a week ago. It was a pleasure talking with Lainey and has such a good energy to her. And I'd love to have her back on a little bit down the road. And speaking of which, coming up, my next live stream that is scheduled is tomorrow, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. And something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Last year, I only managed to get one of them together, but hopefully this will be the first of many. The Fun Table sessions are returning starting tomorrow, and that's where I invite guests that I've interviewed to come back. And so in many cases, they've never met each other. So they're from different artistic backgrounds, and we just kind of have like a virtual hangout, happy hour type of session for an hour or so. And so we have one veteran who's done many of them coming back. Actually, the very first one I ever did, she was a part of. And then I have two newbies that are going to be joining us tomorrow. So if you'd like to join the chat and the conversation and hang out, again, that's at 2 p.m. Pacific here on the Eclectic Arts Media YouTube and Twitch channels. I think I also have it over connected to my Facebook page as well. So it'll be on 3 different platforms. And after that, we'll kind of see what's coming up. I've got many film festivals that I'm involved with right now, concerts that are coming up starting Friday. There's plays and musicals and opera, all the other things that I normally have going on. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor and please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, please follow me over there. I will follow you back. And for all the latest news about what I have coming up, I always post everything first on my Instagram account, which is, I can't even speak today, Eclectic Arts Media, one word. You'll see the same little avatar across all of my platforms and email and everything else that I have. So you'll know you found the right one. And yeah, so hopefully everyone's doing really well out there. I'm looking forward to doing my interview this afternoon. And as some people know, my Muggle job changed. So I now have afternoons available to me, which I didn't have before. And so this is really opening up things in terms of my schedule. So I hope to have more live streams scheduled in the future. But let's get to, gosh, what's going on with this chair? Let's get to today's interview. My guest today has been setting the adult entertainment industry on fire since her first scene. She is a 2-time 2023 AVN Award winner and a 2-time 2023 Tease Award winner. She has new scenes and new DVDs out from Adult Time. It is my great pleasure to welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media Virtual Studio, Ariel Demure.
Hello.
Hi, Ariel. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So as we were talking pre-show, you're starting off 2023, I mean, like right out of the gate, just going crazy. And so congratulations on all of your awards.
Thank you. I'd rather be busy than bored. So I keep that going.
Okay, and so if we start with the 2 AVN awards that you won for, what was that experience like for it? Because you've been nominated before, but this I believe were your first wins.
Yeah, these were my first wins. I was super excited. I wasn't really going into it thinking about winning anything. I was more so just really grateful for the experience, and I thought that there was a possibility, a good, strong possibility I would get Thespian, Best Actor. That's what that means for those who are not trained in theater. But the one-on-one was like a pleasant surprise. That was a fun scene to do. And I got to do it with my friend, Jade Venus. So I was very grateful for that accolade.
Okay, and we're definitely going to come back to the Thespian background piece that you just talked about. But if we move over to the Tease Awards that you got Best Hardcore Performer. I mean, that's huge.
That was shocking. So in my mind, people like me don't typically win awards like that. So I was very grateful for the acknowledgement. I spoke briefly with Stephen Gruby, and he said that he can't remember if that's ever happened, a tie, because I did tie with Emma Rose. But when they saw that it had happened, it was an even split. He said, "Fuck it, that's exactly what it should be." And I am appreciative that he felt that way, because Emma definitely deserved it for sure. But the fact that I got to share that award with her really means a lot to me, because I have worked really hard this year, and I'm glad that people noticed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you want to not only work hard, but when people start to notice and appreciate it, then it's like, hey, that's another feather in your cap for sure.
Hell yeah.
I'm just kind of curious about some of the other folks that I've talked to in the adult industry have said that the award shows sometimes are really, really nerve-wracking to them, and other times they just view it as a party. Where were you kind of on that timeline of how you view it?
Definitely the latter. I'm so grateful so I come from a drag background. I was a drag queen for X amount of years, and I loved getting to fucking put on crazy outfits and just go get drunk with my friends. So this is really checking a lot of boxes for me every award season. I'm glad when it's over because it's exasperating, but not enough galas, not enough balls, not enough places to go where you get dressed up like an asshole. So it's fun getting to, look like a drag queen again sometimes and get shit-faced with friends and new friends that I don't know yet. The award season's been awesome for networking. Every time an award show passes, I'll wake up the next morning and then just try and figure out who the hundreds of people were that I followed in the course of the evening, because I remember almost none of it.
Well, like you said, it checks a lot of boxes for you when it's award season. So that's awesome. And also when you get to premiere, your outfit or everything else that you put together, and that gives you that opportunity to do so.
Yeah. I made my dresses this year for the AVN and XViz. The T Award dress was vintage. I do enjoy myself some vintage, but I do, like I said, female impersonation was a fun little thing that I did back in my younger years. So I learned how to sew and stuff, and that's been a fun way for me to express myself creatively, diversify my portfolio of work.
Yeah, no, so I worked as a model photographer for about 10 years. So some of the models that had that skill set that they developed in terms of sewing and designing their own wardrobe, I was always fascinated by. So we'll touch on that in a minute too. This is great. There's so many other things I'm learning already. So have you always been someone that works really hard, that has a really strong work ethic? Is that where this is coming from, or did you have to develop it? Oh, let's see if she comes back on. We're not hearing you right now. Let's see.
Sorry about that.
Okay, there we go.
I said, no, I was horrible in school. And the only reason I passed is because I was friends with all of my teachers. I went vintage shopping with my art teacher like regularly in Wilton Manors, where I used to live in Florida. But yeah, I know when I care about something, I want to be as good as I possibly can be at it. I'm not a competitive person. That's one thing that does kind of irk me about award season, that this is my art and I do it because I love it, not because I have to or because it pays the bills. I was a makeup artist for 9 years before I started working in adult film, and that paid the bills. I was happy. It was good, but it wasn't really like filling up my tank. It wasn't challenging me. And one thing that I've always loved was sex work. I've always just, it does it for me. I enjoy it so much. So when I care about something, I really put in a lot of effort and energy to just not be the best, but be the best version of myself and give it the most energy that I can. And fortunately, sex work is just something that does it for me, and it fuels me creatively in a lot of different ways. And so I just want to do well, and I care about it. So I try, which I don't do with a lot of other stuff in my past. Hence why I never went to college and shit. Barely graduated high school.
Well, I think we have that in common in terms of like something that we're passionate about. If we're passionate about it, then we give it everything we got, but not because we're trying to beat the person next to us. We're just trying to better what we do because we love it so much. Yeah. I mean, Eclectic Arts started off as something 11 years ago, just as for fun, as a hard copy fanzine. That's all it was for music stuff.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I'm a musician at heart, and I've been playing guitar for most of my life. And that I never, if you told me back in 2011 that it would expand to what it is now, I would have thought you were like fucking crazy. But I liked it so much, and when I have opportunities like this where I get to talk to people that I admire, it's like, this is what fuels it. This is why I want to keep doing better and better and make it look better and everything else that I do. And there's nothing else driving it other than my own, my own volition. I want to make it better myself, period. So,
absolutely.
That's great. I'm glad that we share that. So speaking of that, since we're talking about the present, so where are you heading with the future then? If you're trying to constantly work and push and grind and everything that you need to do, where are we heading?
So I've got some things in the work. They're still kind of on the down low. I don't want to talk about anything until we're further along, but I am working on a little project, well, a big project. It's actually the reason I got into the adult film industry. But I am cultivating success for the future. I've got something in the works, and you'll be hearing about it more than likely next year.
Okay. Well, hopefully when we're, finding out bits and pieces about what this is, and maybe we can reconnect and start promoting what it is.
Hey, where your head's at. Sounds good to me.
All right. Yeah, no, I love having guests come back. And so let me kind of go back to some of the things that you mentioned. So you mentioned Thespian for acting. So is that in your background then? Were you taking classes at some point?
Ironically, no. I hated those kids in high school. They drove me nuts. I thought they were so fucking annoying. But that's just my high school, not theater people in general. I love theater people sometimes. But growing up, I always just had a flair for the dramatic. And a couple of my mentors I'm still in touch with today have said in the past, like, you really need to pursue acting. That's something you should really look into. And I had no desire because I thought it was awkward and weird and uncomfortable doing all the pretending. I've never been a very big pretender. And my first ever studio scene was with Jim Powers for Gender X. And I thought that it was just first I thought I was just going to be sex trafficked. I didn't even realize it was real until I showed up. I was certain I was just going to get kidnapped because it was just so easy and so fast. I'm like, this is too good to be true. This can't be real. Because it was so simple and efficient. And I just anticipated it being like this laborious, like contracts back and forth. And it wasn't. It was just, are you free? Can you do it? And I showed up and it was awesome. But I had to read lines and I was like, I don't do that. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to read. And so that was really strange and really uncomfortable at first because I was down to do the sex part, but the whole pretending was weird. And then every time I did it, it got easier and easier. And then I started to actually like it and try and be better at it. I still don't think I'm the greatest. I don't think I'm anything special, but I try. I'm trying now to some degree. And projects like the one I got Thespian, Best Thespian for, really speak to me. I was a love child between Stella Smut and Brooklyn Gray, their partner. And they wanted to do this sort of like cabaret, burlesque inspired scene where Brooklyn sang an original song that they had written and performed it. And they wanted this like Joel Grey sort of madam type for the role that was kind of like a mixture between Liza Minnelli and Joel Grey from the film Cabaret, the musical. And I wear green nail polish a lot because of that film. Sally Bowles is a character who wears green nail polish, and she thinks it's just divinely decadent, and it's something unique to her, and that always spoke to me. So I always wear that kind of beetle green nail polish, and we started talking about it, and then she was like, okay, you're the one. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. And it just sort of happened, and yeah, it was very fun to create this character and then fuck the ingenue. It was a very interesting sort of experience.
Well, that's great that you have such intention behind even details like your nail polish.
It's the little things.
It is, and I tell people that all the time. It's like, you know, the small things that you do really add up.
Yeah.
And it could be in this case, like if they're trying to find somebody that has the right mindset and they already say, oh, you already know this character, you know this film, you know what the aesthetic that we're going for. Sometimes that's hard to find, but if you're already living it, and it's like, oh yeah.
I have a very specific set of references. I'm a very specific aesthetic, and I'm grateful that a lot of the directors that I work with recognize that and encourage it. And they don't try and cast me against type. So it works out nicely.
Yeah, well, and when I did my my live stream about 2 weeks ago with Lainey Gray, we were talking about the acting aspect, and that, you know, some performers really grasp onto it and really want to do more and more feature work and that type of thing, and other ones are like, no, I just want to fuck. I don't want to deal with lines and all that kind of thing.
Totally a balance thing. I just did a scene the other day with Chloe. Oh, I always mess up her last name, but Chloe something. Shit. This is the second time I've did this too. But that was like a regular gonzo scene for Evil Angel, and it was Chloe Capri. There we go. She spells it with a K. It throws me off every time. But I did a scene with her the other day, and it was straight gonzo, and we had so much fun. We were just laughing and just fucking and laughing and fucking like the whole time, and it was incredible. And those are so refreshing because there aren't a ton of gonzo studios that trans women really work for so much. At least I haven't. So I'm always grateful to get to do those. But the studio work where you do a lot of dialogue and character stuff, that's awesome too. I just like a balance of everything.
Okay, and maybe this is premature, but do you see yourself down the road like having your own production company so you have control over like what kind of films you put out?
Personally speaking, at this juncture, I don't think so. I use this analogy a lot. I don't want my dentist to do my Botox. You know, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I feel like my artistic vision is very specific, and what I am good at is very specific. I definitely think as I grow as a performer, I can learn more about like the behind the scenes logistics of working a camera and stuff. I definitely think directing would be fun and really fulfilling in a lot of ways. But at this juncture, I like working with a director who is very good at what they do. And just because someone is a very good performer does not mean that they are a very good director or a very good makeup artist or a very good lighting person. Like, focus on what you're good at and really grow on that. That's where I'm at right now. Just trying to be better.
Okay, no, that makes sense. And I like that you're so self-aware of like what you want and what you want to keep growing and get better at. And
right now.
Right now, exactly. And down the road,
you never know what tomorrow will bring, but right now that's where I'm at.
Exactly. It reminds me of like a guitar player in a band who decides to produce the next album and they don't know anything about production and it sounds like crap. So it's like,
But there's only one way to learn, and you learn more by making mistakes than you do by doing things right. Yeah.
Absolutely. We talk about this all the time on these live streams about failing forward, that you have to make sure that you do that. So
done my share of that. I fail forward, I fail backwards, I fail side to side. I do all of them.
The other piece that stuck out that you mentioned to me was about your sewing and making your dresses for two of the three recent award ceremonies, and so that goes back to your drag days.
Yeah.
And so was that a lot of failing forward or sideways, backwards when you were first starting out, or were had a knack for it?
So I've always been an artist. My family always thought I was going to go to school for art. A lot of my mentors were artists throughout my life, and I just kind of am good with my hands, and I think that carries over into sex work for whatever reason. But yeah, I've just always had a knack for just things that involve, dexterity, and sewing was just one more thing that challenged me and I wanted to get better at. And every time I work on a project, I think I get a little bit better. I'm to the point now where I'm making my own patterns, and I'll like see a design and then I'll think like in my head how I want to make that. There's a few things in my closet where I saw something, I didn't want to spend hundreds of dollars on an outfit, so I went to the fashion district and I made it. But yeah, I paint, I draw, I did makeup for 9 years. I do some hair stuff. I like to sew. Anything that challenges me creatively. What sucks is I'm shitty at music. I can't do music, can't sing, can't play any instruments. That always makes me sad when I see someone like doing it really well. And I wish my mind worked like that, but it doesn't make me sad. I wish I could, but I enjoy it for what it is,
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate the arts.
Well, and with me being Eclectic Arts Media, I appreciate the arts too. And like as you were saying, with singing or musicianship is something that's not in your background. I can't draw to save my life. I'm one of those people that back when Pictionary came out back in the day, nobody wanted me on their team because I suck so bad.
That's cute. My AP art teacher in high school said that anyone can be Leonardo da Vinci, and that was a very strong opinion she had and was very loud about. But practice makes perfect. Just trying.
Well, I'll have to keep trying a lot more.
Unless you don't fucking want to, in which case, fuck it. No one cares. It's fine.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I started dabbling in some painting a couple of years ago, and they actually used to be in my backdrop, which I think they're around here somewhere. So I'll get back to that at some point. That was like the first step.
It's such a release. It's so good. It doesn't have to be good objectively, as long as it was fun to do. That's all that matters. Did needlepoint not too long ago. I've been fucking around with needlepoint. I'm not very good at it, but it's something to do. It's fun, practice.
See, and I think creative-minded people like trying something new just for that fact. It's something you haven't done yet. So let me see what I can do with this. Yeah. When something gets good to me, then I'll sit there and keep working at it and keep staying with it. And if it feels like it's not the right time, then I'll just leave it alone for a bit and maybe come back to it 6 months later. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely into things that are more organic. I don't want to force anything.
Yeah.
So, wow. So you've got such a huge artistic background. It sounds, I don't even know what this project is that you have coming up, but I'm guessing there's got to be something pulling from your artisticness in your background that's going to create this thing.
Past, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll find out soon enough what it is. But I'm also curious, in doing some research before this interview, that I saw that you were crowned prom queen back in high school.
Yeah, that was funny. I wasn't transitioning at that time, so that was when I was still identifying as like a gender fluid male with my legal name. And I'm 95% sure everyone saw a male name on the prom queen list, docket, whatever, and just said, "That's funny. I'm gonna vote for them." And I wasn't unpopular. I wasn't someone that was reviled. I just wasn't someone who was exponentially outgoing and trying to make friends with all the different people. So people knew of me, but they didn't know me. I was also platinum blonde for a while in high school, so when they would see me walk around, they knew exactly what that creature was over there. So yeah, that was just something silly I wanted to do, and I was to this day, I'm pretty sure I'm the only, gender non-conforming individual to have won prom queen at that school in Fort Lauderdale. So that's fun. But
Okay, and would you say your school was pretty progressive minded?
It was a magnet school for architecture and other stuff. It was, yeah, I would say it was really accepting of me overall. The female demographic definitely appreciated me. The men were confused by me, generally speaking. Like I said, I'm not super outgoing, so I wasn't one of those people in high school who was sucking off all the football players, on the down low. I had no interest. I was too busy fucking around with my art teacher and painting murals and shit. Just being an old lady.
Okay, well, at least it sounds like some folks that are gender fluid or even at that point they may have been transitioning have a very different experience, especially in high school, of how they were viewed and issues they had to deal with. It sounds like maybe you didn't have that as much.
Yeah, my high school experience was super unique. I'm very grateful for the life that I've been fortunate enough to lead. I'm very fortunate. My parents know what I do. My family accepts me for who I am. My dad actually named me. My chosen name was one that we kind of came to an agreement on. He told me I was spelling it wrong and that, had gender identities been different at birth, I ended up picking the name that he wanted me to have, which was really serendipitous. Yeah, I'm very cognizant that high school is not hard for me in respect to bullying and stuff. I started stripping at 18 while I was still in high school, and my experience was just very unique and not bad. So unfortunately, contrary to popular belief, not everyone in porn is doing it because they had a horrible, horrible childhood and no one loves them.
See, and that's a small reason of why I started having adult guests on. It's to kind of talk about, let's talk to the actual people that are in the industry and they can talk about their backgrounds, and you kind of find out a lot of them had loving families, still have loving families that know what they do, like what they do, support everything. And it's like kind of breaking through this misnomer that people have, especially for conservative minded people, of like, oh, you must be this if you do that. And it's like, well, no, not necessarily.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, and not to take away from people whose life experience that is, but it's a very sweeping generalization to just assume that all sex workers are doing it because they are emotionally damaged. I think we all have trauma, look at the fucking state of the world, of course, but I definitely have a very fortunate set of circumstances, and I don't gloss over that. I'm very grateful for my childhood and my family and my support system.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, there's some of the models that I worked with. One of them had the unfortunate situation where as soon as they came out, they got kicked out of the house, the whole thing you can think of. Yeah. And then the other one that I met, no, mom and dad embraced her and they were supporting her, and her siblings were supportive. And what a difference that made in both of their paths and their journeys.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it.
Yep, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, everyone's got baggage, trauma, doesn't matter, including me, what your background is. And depending on how you decide to move forward from it, that's going to dictate where you go. And hi, Tony, good for you to join us. And it's okay that you're late. You can always catch up and see the other beginning part of our conversation, you know, whenever you have time. Tony's over on the East Coast in the Pittsburgh area, so we've known for a while. So you mentioned really strong family support. You're doing drag, and then so what was the transition from drag to adult work in the porn world?
So I'm once again very lucky. I grew up in South Florida where we had a very prevalent trans presence in the nightclub entertainment industry. There were a couple different trans strip clubs around at the time. And when I was stripping as a male, I had heard about one of these clubs that was in Hollywood. And I just went in just out of curiosity and was offered a job on the spot and started working there. Then one of the customers that was a patron at so this was more of like a drag sort of show bar where it was all inclusive. We had cis women, we had trans women, we had drag queens, we had cross dressers, we had couples. Like it was a all inclusive, really fun and eclectic bunch in a hole in the wall Roach Motel of an establishment. Loved it, loved working there, but it was a dump. And then one of the customers who was a frequenter of that club opened up down the street a trans only strip club. And it was a property that had previously been occupied by a different show bar. So that area had just always been like very trans and drag inclusive. And there was just like a whole issue with the property rights and stuff. So he opened up that club, and that really changed the game for me. That was how I met a escorting agent. I think it was called Diamond Girls, something like that. And he got me a couple sets with Groovy. And that was kind of my first ever introduction to the adult film world. But that was just me fucking around being silly. And then from there, I just really blossomed and learned a lot about myself and evolved. And I began my transition. And yeah, it was incredible. Then I had a little bit of a break. I wanted to focus on myself and my spirituality and my future. And I went back to school. I got my esthetician's license.
Can't hear you again. Yeah, still can't hear you. It's weird. It'll black out for like a second, and then when it comes back on, like right now, it blacks out. Let's see, and still not hearing you. It's so strange. Yeah, I still can't hear you. It's. I'll get like this quick black screen, and then you come back on, and then the audio goes away. The first time it happened, you managed to get the audio back, but right now it's like not wanting to cooperate. So bizarre. Okay. So watch Ariel is trying to figure out her device, and let's see if we can get something that will connect her back that has audio. Hopefully everyone's having a nice day out there. And again, for those that are joining late, Ariel's trying to reconnect with us through her device. I see there's another device that's getting connected right now. And let's see if this is going to work.
Better?
Yay! I hear you.
Yes. Sorry, I don't really know how technology works. I'm still a notepad and a pen kind of person.
That's okay.
I don't know how to turn my phone like off to the world. That's
okay. So maybe you're getting some sort of like notification or something's coming in that interrupts it.
yeah. People are blowing up my fucking phone all day, every day. I don't get a minute's rest. It's always something. Someone needs something somewhere.
Okay, but you were saying that you did a couple scenes. You're just kind of fucking around.
Yeah, I took a little break from sex work to focus on my spirituality. I got my esthetician's license. I started doing makeup, and then decided to pursue that. Moved to Los Angeles, and then once I got here, COVID happened. I was doing makeup, working for the same company. I worked for Chanel Cosmetics for over 5 years. COVID happened, and I was able to kind of pivot and just figure out like, what do I actually want to do for the rest of my life? Because makeup is not it right now. I don't want to be an artist because once again, I like my art to be something for me. I don't like to monetize it. It takes the fun out of it. And I don't want to really do makeup at this juncture because I don't know. It just wasn't it. I feel like, personally speaking, for me, as an artist, your point of view should be unique and you should be contributing to the conversation of whatever art you're creating. And I didn't feel like as a makeup artist, what I was doing was really all that unique. It was fine. It was good, but it wasn't really like, oh, wow, you're doing something. Because I follow a lot of makeup artists that I feel are incredibly talented, and you can tell their makeup. You can tell it's them that did it. So I realized sex work is just my passion. It's what I love to do. It's my ideal creative medium. And so now I'm working at creating a long-term option for myself for the future. And it's been really rewarding and it's been very exciting. And yeah, I think I figured it out, my future.
One, that's a really great feeling when you do feel like you found whatever your path's going to be, because many people don't. I mean, they try all kinds of different things.
And there's no time limit on it either, in my opinion. Granted, I'm not as old as I'm going to be, but in my opinion, I don't think it's ever too late to try something new, go a different avenue.
Case in point with myself. I mean, again, I started this whole thing in 2011. I told people the same things, like, you don't have to be a certain age to start something.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You could be much older than I am now and still start. If I want to do a podcast, or I want to do it, okay, we'll start it. Why wait? But yeah, it's great that you also fall into that same category, which thousands, if not millions of other people did when COVID happened, about like getting a chance to kind of look around, like, what do I really want to be doing? Because you're grinding so hard every day, and then you didn't have enough time to actually sit back and like take it all in. Like, I don't like this. I want to be doing something different.
Yeah.
And I'm in the same boat now, because my muggle job is not what I went to school for in any stretch of the imagination, but it's a puzzle piece. It fits for what I do with the media outlets. I can't be doing like managerial work like I used to and being on call 24/7. It's like, I want to be doing this stuff. I don't want to be doing that. So what's going to allow me to do both? And so far, fingers crossed, I kind of found it. So yeah, I want to stay there, and you want to be happy too. I had somebody recently tell me that their view of me was that I'm basically living my retired life now. And I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting way to look at it, because
I like that.
Yeah, I like it too, because you think about it, some people work 30, 35 years, they retire and think, oh, I'm going to travel, I'm going to do all these things. And sometimes that doesn't work out. It could be health issues, it could be whatever, money issues. And so you just busted your ass for most of your life, and then you realize, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to do those things. So why not do them while I'm working? And I thought about that. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm doing more now than I ever did in my 20s or my 30s or my 40s. I'm kind of old. So, no, but that's great that you found your path.
Absolutely. It's a MAME. It's a song from MAME. It's today. And it's all just like, use the good china today, burn the candles, wear what you wanna. Like, you got today. you're plotting and planning for tomorrow, and that's good, but you still have today. You gotta use the time that you're given.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. With your esthetician background and working on the adult sets, are you ever looking at people's work and going, wow, that's really fucking good? Or you ever look at it the other way around, like, wow, this could be a little bit better. I need to tweak stuff.
I just missed the cutoff for my muses. I did a Gentlemen Prefer Blondes inspired scene for muses with Adult Time, directed by Stella Smut with Kenzie Ann. And I actually did the makeup and hair for that scene because I love vintage cinema so much. And I had such a specific look that I wanted for it that I was like, I have to do it myself. I must. It's a necessity. But yeah, I often will be on set, and I only have a few makeup artists that I really like working with that do my makeup. More often than not, I'll see everyone else's makeup and I'm like, okay, this is good, but I'm glad I did my own. I know my face.
Sure.
And granted, I make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but I'd rather do my own makeup about 75% of the time.
Okay, no, that's fair enough, because one of the models that I work with, she had an esthetician background as well. So if a makeup artist showed up on set, she's kind of like, Mark, she doesn't know my face. And it could be like, in her case, it was an ethnic thing as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I just worked with Leilani Lee the other day, and she was asking me like, okay, can I trust a makeup artist on set? Like, are they going to make me look normal? And I'm like, yes, but bring your own foundation for sure. Because unfortunately, it's really frustrating. A lot of people in the industry, not to throw people under the bus, but a lot of makeup artists in the industry are not technically trained in color theory, which was something I really emphasized when I was in school. And it's just something that completely goes over people's heads. And they don't know how to work on people who don't look like them. And it's really frustrating. So that sucks, especially for people of color, just with more pigment in their skin. When there are more pigments in someone's skin, it's more pigments that you have to know how to accommodate and work with as an artist. It's like doing black and white as opposed to doing full color. Like, it's just, that is very complex. This has its own issues in and of itself, but this is complex and there's a lot going on over here. So it's an extra set of skills that you need to have as a makeup artist if you want to be good or booked or not stupid. But unfortunately, here we are.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have said it better myself. I had to learn from those experiences and find out, let me see your book and what kind of faces have you worked with, and I'd have to have discussions before we ever book them on set, because I don't want another repeat of that.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
So it's these things so people out there that are thinking, oh, you just kind of show up and you just, someone, you sit in a chair and they do the hair, makeup, and off you do your scene. It's like, well, hopefully you want the best from everybody, and sometimes they don't quite have the skill set for that. It's not necessarily their fault. It just is what it is.
They're not far enough along in their education, I think, a lot of the times. What sucks is I've only worked with 2 makeup artists who are like, oh, I've done this for so long, and then I get out of the chair and I'm like, oh, wow, I literally look like I slept under a bridge. Or this is like whore, prostitute, raccoon makeup. Like, this is just insanity. Like, what happened in the past 15 years of your career where you think this is acceptable? That doesn't happen super often. Like I said, the makeup artists I work with now on set are all fantastic. So
okay,
I don't care. But yeah, sometimes it's nice to just sit back and let them do it. You just show up.
Yeah, you can just let them work their magic, as long as they have the skill set with that magic.
Not dark magic, dark-sided.
Yeah, we don't need that for the scene today or forever, really. I'm kind of curious. Do you work with an agency, an agent, or are you self-representing when you book your scenes for your scenes and everything that you do?
No. So I work with an agent. I am represented by Fab Scout, which is based out of Florida. It was historically a gay agency. Howard Arnold is the owner of Fab Scout. He's incredible. When I was pursuing the concept of getting an agent, I weighed the pros and cons of going with a straight agent, because most trans women don't even have agents. Most of us just get contacted directly from directors. But there were a couple companies, Bree Mills in particular, who I had never worked with, and I really wanted to, and I couldn't get through to them. So I was like, let me just try and get an agent, I guess. Maybe that'll do it, because I don't want to wait anymore. I want to work with them now. And so I interviewed for one agency that was straight, and I spoke to every single person at the agency. They all said, wow, we don't have any trans women because of XYZ reasons, but you're really well-spoken. You seem reliable. You seem professional. We like your energy. We like your look. We're definitely going to get back with you. And I was just sitting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. You're unprofessional. I'm going to go with gay guys over there. Because at least with the gay agency, unfortunately, this industry is very political. And there are still a lot of directors out there giving misinformation to their talent, informing them that if they work with trans or bi performers, the likelihood of their health being at risk goes up, which is fucking asinine. And antiquated. A lot of the bi performers are the only performers I get to work with. Cis, straight individuals doing regular heterosexual porn, they don't do a ton of crossing over into bi and trans porn because of political reasons. And so I said, you know what? If I go with this straight agency, I'm going to work with maybe 2 of the people in their roster. If I go with the gay agency, I've already fucked like 5 of those guys. So I'm going to go over here. And it was a great decision on my part. Howard has become a really good friend of mine. I adore working with him. I'm going to be seeing him in a couple weeks when I go to XBiz Miami. And we always have a good time. It's his birthday coming up. So we're going to have a lovely little birthday evening. It's just an awesome experience. And then I did just sign with the Rub PR as well. Very grateful to Erica Icon for her assistance. We just went to Color Me Mine the other day. We did some painting, expressing ourselves creatively. It's something she loves to do, and I thought that was going to be a great experience, and it was. So she's been helping me cross over into sort of like more mainstream sort of ventures and things like this, doing more podcasts. And then I think that's all. Yeah, those are all the people helping me right now.
Okay, yeah, no, and Eric has been great to me. I mean, that's how we got connected.
Fabulous. She's lovely. Adore her.
Yeah, and I don't know if she wants me to tell this story. I'll try to make it quick, but
I want to hear it.
I just remember that there was, and I'm not going to say who it was, but there was a guest that was booked last year, and then it was probably like 30 minutes before we were supposed to go live. My phone rings, and it was Erica, and the first thing she says was like, "Please don't yell at me." I'm kind of like,
it sounds about right.
Yeah, and I'm like, she explained, something happened with the person's schedule, and I'm like, well, that's okay. You're letting me know, and now we'll just reschedule it for another time. But I guess the previous time with a different guest, the media person just like reamed her out for that same type of scenario. I'm like, one, I don't do that with people when you communicate with me. I mean, like, shit happens, I get it. If you didn't tell me and I'm just sitting here, twiddling my thumbs, like, where's my guest at? That's a little different. Even then, I still probably wouldn't be yelling at somebody, but I would definitely be crossing you off my list.
Professionalism.
Yeah, and so it's like,
goes a long way.
We'll figure it out. And I did have that guest, a few days later, a week later, whatever that was.
Oh,
but
nice.
I just still remember her saying, "Please don't yell at me." I'm kind of like, that's such
a little bit of judicious, professionalism in this industry goes a long way. People do not. And once again, grand sweeping generalization, but it just sticks out to me working with certain directors or producers or just industry people, seeing how they communicate in those tough situations. It makes all the difference as to whether or not I want to work with you. I'm mostly doing lesbian content these days just because, a lot of the dudes in this industry have a very poor sense of maintaining a professional image, just communication, professionalism as a whole. I haven't seen a ton of it, and it's gotten to the point where like I need a break. I need a minute to just work with people who know how to set up an appointment and keep it. You know, when you try and create a content exchange, actually having the communication, just bum, figure it out, say what you need to say, and get it done. These fucking dumbasses. You're working my last damn nerve. I'm getting tired sometimes.
I so relate to what you're saying because of one industry that I've been working in for a while that I really started pulling away from because of that exact thing. Is like, how can you not tell me? And I'm used to hearing no, used to hearing whatever. But if you just don't communicate at all, and I keep having to follow up with you, it's like, what's going on with this deal? Are we actually at this event or not? Am I credentialed? Blah, blah, blah. And after like, I'm just not going to bother with you anymore. And I'm going to work with the good people, the professional people over here. And it's made my life a lot easier.
Absolutely. Just, follow the people whose energies speak towards me. That's what I've been doing. And it's been working out pretty dope in my favor. So I'm content.
That's great. And I've talked about this many times on my live streams. I'm big on energy. I'm big on manifestation about what you put out in the world.
Absolutely.
And there's so many good people out there. Because I would get caught up sometimes. What's the thing over on the other side of the hill? And it's like, this hill right here is really great. I want you to keep working with it instead of looking for the other one.
Yeah.
But it took me the pandemic to kind of figure that out. Here's the good people. Keep working with them. You're folding some new people that are also good. You over here, I've given you 5-6 chances. You got to go away. Maybe somewhere down the road you'll come back, but I don't know. I'm not gonna hold my breath for that right now.
Yeah.
And I don't like to be a negative person, but it's like, no, you're affecting what I do. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, if you have any questions or comments for Ariel, please get them in the chat now. So we're getting close to winding this down as she has a very, very busy day. Rest of the day. She talked about that. Just off the top of my head, some things that we have not covered. So what do you do when you're not busting your ass, creating your brand, working on everything? What do you do for fun? And you have all this art background. So is there anything outside of that like you're a TV person or you'd like to, I don't know, you're into pets?
Oh, I love a good series. I love a good binge. What's it call it? Yeah, no, I love consuming cinema. I love the escapism of watching something that's well written and, kind of just letting that be your world for a little bit. That's really fun. I love cinema. I love classic Italian and French film because they're just so like ahead of the game. They're so more loose with the storylines and what's acceptable because Europe. But I enjoy going and getting wine with my gal pals. Just discovered a new club down the street called Tramp Stamp Grannies that I'm quite enjoying. It's a sing-along piano bar that's really been getting my money lately. Yeah, I don't know. I like the simple things. I need a lot of alone time. As an artist, I need to be able to recharge. After award season, like in between XBiz and the T Awards, I slept for like 2 weeks because it was just so much from your social battery that's demanded of you. I needed to check out for a minute because I appreciate my quality time, my alone time. I need to be alone often. But yeah, normal shit. I go to the beach sometimes. I eat a lot.
Well, I like that you know that you need to recharge your batteries sometimes, especially after you've been through a really strong social period, which was the big event this year with all the award seasons. I think some people that aren't artistic don't necessarily completely understand that. And in general, people should be recharging the batteries anyway. But I know for myself, it just sucks the life out of me sometimes. So it's like I need to decompress for a few days, few weeks, whatever it is. People don't understand. It's like, how come you can't cover this? How come you can't do this? Like, I've been doing this shit for like 6 weeks straight. I can't do another one.
Honestly.
So I'm not leaving. I'm coming back, but just give me a break. Just like I need a break too. So That's great. What kind of food do you like to eat? You mentioned food.
I like Italian a lot. I'm Colombian and Cuban, so trying to find good like Cuban and Colombian food out here has been a bitch and a half in Los Angeles. There's an awesome Puerto Rican place called Mofongos in the Valley that is incredible. Love soul food. There was a place called Sweet Blessings also in the Valley that was out of this world, but they're gone now. So I'm trying to replace that. Go to Roscoe's a lot. They're pretty amazing. I love Roscoe's. But yeah.
It's making me hungry. I haven't
I
eaten
love
lunch
bread.
yet.
If you have bread, then I'm probably gonna enjoy it. I love bread. I like carbs, pasta.
Do you ever try making your own bread?
No, I didn't get on that COVID train. I just got into porn. I was in that group of people during COVID. I wasn't making bread. I wasn't worried about the yeast shortage.
Okay. Well, Ariel, thank you so much for taking the time. It was awesome talking with you and getting to know more about you. And you shed some light on some things too that I wasn't completely aware of too. So I really appreciate that as well. I love learning new things from the actual sources. So that's always great to me.
Well, right on. I'm glad I could. I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and I hope you have a fabulous day.
Hope you do as well. And everybody out there that's watching, thank you for joining us. And Ariel, maybe somewhere down the road, if it's when that new project comes out, or hopefully maybe something between when that project comes out, let's reconnect if you're up for it. And
absolutely, you better believe it.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much again. Bye.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye-bye.